All right, you guys can introduce yourself.
I'll go first. Hi, I'm Gabe. I'm part of Progressivism's channel.
Hi, I'm Chase. I'm also a part of Progressivism.
All right, so we have like 6 topics, and we're gonna do like 5 minutes for each. So we'll start with the first one. All right, abortion. What are our stance on abortion?
I mean, obviously, I'm pro-choice. Like,
Yeah, I think we all are. But you want to like talk about it, like your like belief.
yeah. So I think I'm a little less progressive than most people on this topic, just because of I'm more like I feel like obviously abortions are a bad thing, but I don't think that we can criminalize them in any way, shape, or form until we reform everything around healthcare and everything around that. So like, I don't think they should be criminalized, period. But if they were going to, like, if they're going to, you have to change the healthcare system, you have to change the education system, you have to change everything in order to make it possible for until we no longer need abortions, then like you can't criminalize them because it's not going to stop abortions from happening. Until you can provide education and birth control for everyone, then you can't. Like, yeah, like I don't. What?
Is somebody else talking?
Yeah, you've kind of fell out.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I basically agree with you. I mean, I feel like it's not like a good thing, but it definitely can't be illegal. Like, I mean, her body, her choice.
Yeah, so, like, and it's been. Oh shit! Go ahead.
And it's been proven that it's technically not a human life until 13 weeks, and 91, I think, percent of abortions are before that, and the rest of those after 13 weeks or the end of the first trimester are what do you say, harmful to the mother's life. So I don't know why we would make it illegal. So, but we definitely work on reducing them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the only way to reduce them is to provide that healthcare and provide free birth control to everyone that wants it, And like, it's been proven that even if you do ban them or criminalize them, that doesn't stop abortions from happening. They just happen like
25 million
illegally, and more people and babies, or quote unquote babies, die because they're being performed unsafely.
25%, 25 million unsafe abortions are done every year.
Yeah.
I think that personally, I'm of the belief that it should be illegal after somewhere between 22 to 24 weeks. That's when a baby can survive outside of the fetus, technically.
Yeah.
Yep. And people like to say that brain development begins at 6. Like, brain activity is present at 6 weeks, and heart development at 5. But that's not true. The heartbeat doesn't come much later. It's actually just like a rhythmic pulsing of the womb area. And I'm not going to debate on whether it's actually a life or not, because there are some people that think that it technically is, because that's a religious thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm just going to say that it's going to just, banning abortions isn't going to do anything. It's just going to cause more deaths. And especially closing down Planned Parenthood, which provides many more services other than just abortions. Abortions only account for 3% of what they actually do. They're important for STD testing and for like getting certain medications and everything like that.
So. Yeah, I think the debate over like whether it's a life is just redundant and ridiculous, because if that's the case, then why not have the option of like the person choosing whether or not it's a life? Like for pro-lifers that say it's a life, like you think it's a life, I don't think it is. Like, why should I have to like accept your way of thinking because that's your opinion? Like, that's not.
Well, yeah, even though it is scientifically proven that it's only cellular life before 13 weeks, if you want to argue with me on that and say it should be legal because your religion believes it's a human life before 13 weeks, separation of church and state, like your your religious belief shouldn't be able to influence, the government. So I think science is definitely the way to go,
Yeah. And
Excuse me.
oh,
Sorry.
no, you're fine. Yeah, and back to like what Chase was saying about brain activity, like it's people that use that argument are looking at it like on the very basic level of like the brain is there and like it can move, but like just because it's moving doesn't mean it has consciousness. It can't, like, it doesn't know the senses, so it's like it doesn't have senses and it can't process those, so it can't, obviously it doesn't have consciousness if it can't even.
Yeah.
All right, next topic, white privilege. I think we all agree that it's 100% real.
Oh, absolutely. Like, this is like one of my favorite topics to talk about because it's like people that don't believe in white privilege are so just like, in my opinion, no offense if anyone's watching that does, but like they just have like this disconnect with reality and they're like so out of touch.
Yeah, I did a TikTok on it. I was reading a study that was saying, I'm trying to think of the numbers. I don't know the exact numbers, but like in a recent study, more white people are caught with marijuana or possessive of marijuana, but I don't know if it's African American person is 7 times more likely to get caught and put into jail for it, which is, I guess they deny it, that's not white privilege, but I mean it is. So
yeah, like I love to use the argument of like, when you get pulled over by a cop, do you even think about your race? Like, does that even enter your head as like,
no. Yeah.
Like, no, it doesn't. But nearly every single person that is a person of color that gets pulled over by the police is like, oh fuck, I'm brown. Like, oh fuck, like,
Yeah.
like, and they're constantly on edge and just like at risk. Like, when white people don't even think about that shit.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that a lot of white supremacists like to point out the 1350 argument, how African Americans only make up 13% of the population, but make up 50% of the arrests, which is not true anymore. But back then it used to be. And I think the difference between people that are racist and not is that racists will see the evidence that will just say they commit more crime and that's all. But people that are actually intelligent will see this evidence and ask, okay, what is causing this? What are the factors that are leading to this? And this is white privilege is lesser evidence-based and more theory and history, in my opinion. And so it's like a historical, especially the war on drugs and slavery and everything that has built upon these people, to just deny everything that's happened is extremely offensive, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because people have continuously struggled in this country to become equal, and they are still nowhere near there yet.
Yeah. And if anything, I think that 1350 proves our point even more, because if they've statistically been proven that white people and people of color use drugs and sell drugs at the same rate, or maybe not sell drugs, but use drugs at the same rate.
And it's usually more. I mean, it's rarely less on the white person's part. It's usually more or equal. So
yeah, and so if they use drugs at the same rate, why are black people getting arrested more often than white people are? Like, why are they getting treated differently because they're white or because they're black?
Yeah.
Also, sentence times and how long people are sentenced for. I believe for a black person, it's like 19% or 16% higher than a white person, which is, that says quite something, Especially, I mean, it's for the same exact crime, and yeah, I'd like to point that out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, next topic is healthcare. This is, social and fiscal, if you think about it. But I'd say it's like equal amount of both. But I think, like every other topic, I think we agree on this: universal healthcare, Medicaid for all, Medicare for all.
I think people that don't support universal healthcare are just like a little misinformed and don't really understand how it would work.
Well,
because like obviously if you can provide healthcare for every citizen, why would you not want to?
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people don't really know the exact definition of universal healthcare. It literally means every single person is provided, and why would you not want somebody to be provided? So, I mean, if you don't believe in universal healthcare, then you're, I don't want to be offensive in any way, but like it's a term that means everybody's provided with healthcare.
Yeah, I think they come from like a view of like it won't work because we can't afford it, but like the statistics,
it's literally proven
it's proven that it would actually save money for most
people. Yeah, exactly.
I think the like big debate over, especially within the like left community, is not like whether it should be universal or like across the board, or whether it should be a public and private option. And I don't think that a public and private option could work, because the way it will work is the private healthcare would make it really cheap for healthy people to get insured, but really expensive for people that aren't as healthy to get insured. So that unhealthy people would have to go to the public option and would have to go to the, hold on, I have to think this through in my head, but they would have to go to the public option, which would make the public option really expensive because they're paying for all of the people that are sick, that have cancer, that have all of these expensive medical bills. So it would make, so we'd have to get we'd have to tax more. It'd be just like Obamacare essentially, but
yeah. And I don't know if you saw that person that got charged $34,000 for the coronavirus treatment because they didn't have any health care and they had to pay it all out of pocket. Like, that's just ridiculous. Yeah. And there's also these people in France who a lady was pregnant and she had to stay in the hospital a few extra days, and the hospital charged her 16 euros. And same exact thing happened in the United States, and they went bankrupt because they were charged $2 million because they didn't have any health care. So it's insane.
Yeah, I just think that's ridiculous. I don't think anyone, I think we're too advanced of a society to allow people that get cancer to die because they can't afford it, or go bankrupt because they can't afford their medical bills.
Yeah.
I agree. I also think that the reason why some people don't want universal or free healthcare is because they don't think that people deserve it, because there's a mentality that you should work for it, as if you can work to get out of poverty. They have this mindset that poverty is so easy to get out of. You just have to work harder. But that's not a reality. That's not a thing that actually works. And usually when they say, well, I did it, that's anecdotal evidence.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we can achieve not class equality, because obviously that's communism, but I mean we can't achieve a lesser amount of economic inequality unless we provide everybody with some form of healthcare at least, to at least give everybody a level playing field.
Yeah, and if you're also thinking, the top 1% owns 50% of the world's wealth, which is insane.
And it's only growing. It's exactly. Not getting better.
Capitalism makes the rich richer and the poor poorer. It's as simple as that, which I don't know why anybody would agree with that, because you're thinking there's so many people who are struggling right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're taught from the time we enter school in America that America is based on the principle of everyone has opportunity to succeed, and everyone has the ability to succeed if you work hard. But that's just not the case. Like, you just can't. Like, that just doesn't really exist.
Yeah. All right. Next topic: immigration. What are your stances on that?
Okay, you can go. You can go, Gabe.
I think that immigration should be like, there should be an easy pathway to citizenship. I think it's ridiculous to not offer people that are struggling the ability to come into what is supposed to be the greatest country in the world and succeed. Like, I understand why we need, a level of like security on the border, because we can't just allow everyone to come in willy-nilly and not know who's coming in and out of the country. But
and it's expensive too.
Yeah, it's extremely expensive. Like, that's why I'm saying we need a pathway to citizenship.
Exactly.
That way, people that want to be citizens can easily become citizens, and then they can start paying taxes and start contributing to society.
Exactly. And that's why people are like, well, if you want to stay in the country, why didn't you become legal? Well, it's freaking expensive to come here legally. So some people just don't come here legally because they can't afford it. And that's the reason that they came to this country, is because usually, harsh conditions and financial strength or financial burden. So
yeah, I think it's ridiculous for that when they say, oh, if you want to come here, just come here. Like, why didn't you come here legally? Why didn't you why did you come here legally? Or why did you come here illegally? It's like, if they went through the process, if they were so desperate to get into this country that they broke the law, that they risked their life and their like they risked going to jail forever and getting obviously they were in a bad situation. Like, obviously they needed to be here. They're not just coming here because they want to, they're criminals and want to ruin American society. Like, they don't if they were criminals, they would do it in their home country where it's easier to be a criminal.
I think that in America we have a very unique situation, because the only places that want to accept immigrants are places that have housing crises. So, for example, Seattle, one of the most expensive cities in the United States, and is also one of the only cities willing to accept actual people. And that's the same in San Francisco, Los Angeles, all of this. And I think that we need to have a system that we can actually manage people through, so that when people come here, we can say, okay, we'll give you a home and a job in cities that are rapidly shrinking, like St. Louis and cities in the Midwest and stuff like that. Because I think that it's only going to exacerbate problems in these big cities where there are already housing crises. And I want more immigrants in this country. I think that anybody should be able to come here if they need to. And I also think that we need to simultaneously work on our own problems. And some people think that we need to focus on our own first, but I think that we can do both at the same time. I
I
reasonably.
I obviously think we need to focus on other, helping other countries, but that comes back to why being in the Middle East. We're in the Middle East for no reason. We have problems in America. Why are we helping those people in the Middle East when really it's just for oil? People use the excuse of oh, we need to help other countries because we're the greatest country, but we've got our own problems.
It really depends on the country too, though, and how bad the problem is, because we're not just going to ignore stuff. There's some stuff you just can't ignore.
Yeah, obviously, if a new Third Reich came up somewhere, obviously we would have to help. But
I also think that we can also prevent immigration from happening if we just help these other countries develop their infrastructure better. For example, Mexico. If we actually helped them and actually tried, I think that we could reach a good solution that would drastically reduce the number of immigrants coming here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think most of the immigrants that come here, they don't want to leave.
Exactly. They've probably been there for generations.
Yeah, like they're only coming to America because like they can't succeed in their country. Like if they could, they would stay there.
Yeah.
All right, next topic.
Oh. Okay.
LGBTQ plus. You guys can start. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm trans and bisexual, so I've like experienced this to a level that's, you know, like I have personal experience with it. And it's a bit ridiculous for people to say that like, oh well, we're on equal terms now, like now it's not a problem, like, you know, gay people are being accepted now, and it's like, yeah, but we're not. Like trans people are still being killed, like people are still being judged if they don't present a certain way, like we're nowhere near like where we need to be for society. Like, yeah, we've done a lot of growing and we've done a lot of progress, but it doesn't mean that we're done.
Yeah,
exactly. I also want to point out the argument that people like to use and say, well, it's much better here than it is in the majority of other countries. And I want to say to that, that's not the point. The point is that you want to say America is the best country, but it's the best country for cishet white men.
Yeah.
Like, that's who this country is best for. And so I think that if you want to say America is truly the best country, it needs to be the best country for everybody, including people in the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think comparing it to other countries, it's like that there's no point in that, because if you believe in your country that much that you think it's the best country in the world, it should be open to criticism and open to getting better. We should be working on it. We should constantly be growing as a country. Just because it's the best doesn't mean it couldn't be better.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
There's no like, and people are just getting ignored and just cut out of the entire conversation when they're the ones that should be the most involved. Like people deciding on trans, like Trump just like cutting all of the protections for trans people like in schools. That is ridiculous, because underage trans people are the most at risk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Nick Video said the United States is the most accepting to people of the LGBTQ plus community.
That's not
and I was
true.
like, are you kidding me? Like,
that's not cool.
I can name
so many
10 countries that have better protections.
Yeah. And there's some states in the United States that are just not protected at all.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Like, just not at all.
Yeah, if I was living in Florida where I grew up, I would have probably been like murdered by now. Like someone, or at least like beaten to the point of going to a hospital, because like everyone there is transphobic and doesn't like, and like I think it's just people that see this one view of like people being accepting and people seeing like, oh yeah, like gay people are cool, you know, but they don't see people like living in rural small towns, and even like big cities that literally murder people because they hate them that much.
Yeah.
What was I going to say?
But,
okay. So I want to touch back on the LGBTQ plus thing.
yeah.
We legalized gay marriage in 2015, I believe. We have been like one of the latest developed countries to do so. I forget. I think the Netherlands was the first in 2001, and the fact that people can still say that America is the best in terms of this is so far from the truth, because some states here, conversion therapy, it's still legal in 30 states in the United States, or it's 30 or 20. I think it's 30. And basically, it has been proven that it does not work, and it's extremely harmful, but it's still legal. What else is legal? There is the gay panic law. So in many states, you can actually kill somebody and then use the defense of they were gay and I freaked out.
Or they were trans and I freaked out. That's another thing.
And it's completely legal, and you'll get a reduced sentence, and only a few states have actually like outlawed it. Yeah, it's really gross.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And it's like, that's putting like that's putting the responsibility of like your actions onto someone else. So like
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
that's like saying, oh well, I didn't know it was gonna hurt the dog when I fucking slit the dog's throat. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like it's still it's like trans people are getting like trans and gay people are being treated like animals in comparison to
Yeah.
regular people, and it's like, oh well, you got gay marriage, what else do you want? It's like, well, I want me to be able to walk down the street and not worry about someone like harassing me. I want to be able to walk into a public restroom and not have to worry about getting beat up because
Yeah.
I also want to say, do you remember the baker in Colorado who didn't want to make a cake for a gay couple?
Yes, I do remember
And
that. Yeah.
There are very controversial opinions on this, but I don't think that you should be allowed to do that.
Well,
That's
yeah.
just my opinion because
No.
I'm not religious like at all, and I don't see how your religion Islam is the only religion that I believe actually says something explicitly about homosexuality because it's not mistranslated like the Bible is. But in most cases, religion should never be an argument for homophobia. And I've seen
Yes.
people recently starting to say it's part of the religion that it makes it okay because in order for him to go to heaven, or in order for them to go to heaven, they need to be homophobic. They need to hate gay people because that's the only way they'll get into heaven.
Yeah.
but that's not what the Bible says. The
I
Bible
know.
says to try and convert them and try and make them not gay. It doesn't say you can't serve them, you don't love them, you don't treat them the same as other people. It just says that they're not going to heaven like you are, and that you should try and make them see Jesus and make them convert or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, but either way, I don't believe that. Like, I don't believe in. Like, I'm not religious. I'm not a Christian. So why should I have to like? Why should you be able to discriminate against me because you're a Christian and I'm not?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, if there's someone to ask for questions, so if you guys want to ask questions in the comments.
Oh, somebody says, I forgot what college or university, but they had guidelines or things that were homophobic that said you could get kicked out, then took them away, and a lot of people came out, and then a few months later they took it back and are kicking
I
people
saw
out.
that.
BYU. It was BYU.
Yeah,
It's
it was
Brigham
BYU.
Young University.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. That made me so mad. And it's a Mormon university. I know that. And there was a couple of videos on TikTok about it. They were like, I came out on campus, posted a picture of me kissing my boyfriend, and they kicked me out.
Yeah. It was essentially a way to like bait them into being able to like see who
exactly.
was gay and being able to rid their university.
And I'm guessing that state didn't have laws to protect people that
I don't think Utah does.
Yeah, because like it should be totally legal to kick somebody out because of their sexuality. Literally anything.
Utah actually has the like highest rate of teen suicide because of the Mormon population, because of how like religious it is. They present it in a way that's like they're super homophobic, and like these teens that are gay feel like they have nowhere else to go and they just kill themselves. And so it's like you can see how harmful, like
terrible.
I don't want to be like whatever, like I think people should be able to practice their religion however, but I think like religion, like extreme religions like that, like there should be laws to protect people.
Yeah.
I also want to. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Did you hear about Iowa? And very recently, they passed a bill that made it illegal for teachers or schools in general to discriminate against gay children.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're one of the first states to do it. Actually, and it's very surprising because it's Iowa, but they're actually one of the most like progressive states in terms of like gay issues. It's really weird, but I think that the fact that they had to pass a bill like that, I think, is also indicative that there are way too many problems here for you to say that they're perfectly equal. You have marriage. What else do you want?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like the fact that we even have to put those laws into place. The fact that we even have to have discrimination laws for people that are gay and trans and whatever, like, is exactly how you said it, like, indicative of like the level of inequality within America in regards to that issue.
Okay.
Okay.
This question is, I'm a supporter of universal health care, but I'm not sure how that would look. How would we pay for this? What do you think it would look like?
Sorry, that's my mom.
Oh,
Okay.
Well, so
Hi,
universal
Jason's
healthcare.
mom.
Oh my god. So universal healthcare is there's a difference between universal healthcare and Medicare for all. So universal healthcare is everybody gets covered. And Medicare for all or free healthcare is where everybody is covered, but also the government pays for it, and what you have to pay, your hospital bills will be drastically reduced.
yes.
And so she asked,
And taxes, if
yes,
you're on Bernie
how
plan.
would we pay for this? Yeah, how would we pay for this? Well,
Tax.
Bernie's tax plan advocates for higher taxes for the
10 million up per year.
yeah, 10
You
million
get
up is like
taxed more.
52%.
Yeah. You get taxed like more, but anything below that, your tax rates don't change at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it's the top two like tax bracket. Yeah, that's what
Mhm.
the top two tax brackets. They're the ones that really see a change, but even then, it's 10 million and up above the 10 million. Like, it's not like you're not getting taxed 52% on that $10 million. You're getting taxed on anything you make above the $10 million. So if you make a $10 million and $200,000, then you only get taxed 50%.
Here, there. That's it's kind of blurry, but
yeah.
Your tax rate doesn't change until
So it's everything that is 10 million and up will be taxed to 52%. So you'll have that 10 million, but if you make 11 million, you'll get to keep like $950,000 of that 1 million. So you'd have $10,950,000.
Exactly.
So it's barely people are like, oh, that's such a high tax rate. Like, they're like, it's like you're being dramatic. What are they going to do? Oh, I had 20 million, but now I only have 10 million. Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. Like, they'll be perfectly fine.
They're sitting on the money for most of their life. So, like, what are you going to do with it? Well, that money can go to people in need. So, like, I don't get why. And then there's the top 1% who has 50% of the world's wealth. Like Mike Bloomberg, you have $64 billion. What the heck are you going to do with $64 billion?
Actually, 66 billion.
66. What are you going to do with that at this age? He's like 77 or 8
exactly.
or something.
And I am so annoyed with people saying that his plan is just like a ridiculous tax rate. It's not. It's not at all.
It's not terrible.
After World War II, or maybe it was before World War II, the tax rates were in the 90%. Like,
it was in I think it was during
80. It was
it was 90.
Higher
it was 90
than Bernie. Really? Yeah.
And
it was way higher than
most of the people that I've debated on this they're like, oh, I'm in the middle class, and I'm like, Bernie's tax fund would literally help you. Like, I don't understand why you oppose of it. Like, you're gonna pay less. I don't know why you would, in your right mind, oppose something like that. That's literally helping you.
Yeah, they don't understand that. Like, your taxes may go up a little bit, but you're not paying for healthcare. Like,
exactly,
you're not paying medical bills. You're not paying any
don't grasp onto that.
So your money, instead of going into your healthcare bills, it just goes into taxes and helps everyone. So you save money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I saw, I don't know, the Progressives on TikTok. He did an example, and he was talking about if your healthcare was $10,000, but then he lowered the taxes. So it was you were only paying $5,000 in taxes. People are like, oh, now I have to pay $15,000 in taxes. But no, that $10,000 just gets totally eliminated because the healthcare is included in there.
Yeah. Also, I forgot what I was going to say. So yeah, people don't seem to understand that the majority of people in America will be saving money because of Bernie Sanders. They're not going to be paying much more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if anything, like they'll be paying less. So like
They will be.
Exactly.
I think healthcare is one of the things that I don't understand how anyone can't support universal
Yeah,
healthcare.
exactly. All right. Well, thank you for coming on and discussing. It was a good discussion.
Yep.
Yeah,
All
no
right.
problem.
Thank you
course.
for everyone for watching.